everyone, and I'm back with my series on celebrating you. This is part 3 of 6-part video. In the first two parts, we talked about accepting you just the way you are, not changing yourself because we can't change the essence of who we are. We can adapt, we can mold, we can mature, we can grow, but we really can't change the essence of who we are. And when I talk about the essence of who we are, I'm talking about your personality, whether you're outgoing, loud, vivacious, you quiet, you're a little bit on the timid side. Those things don't change. We do adapt though as we grow, and we can adapt that, but we can't really go from a very timid shy person to a vivacious loud person unless we're taking some kind of chemical substances, I should say. But other than that, we really stay who we are. The second part was about how do you choose the significant other that is in line with who you are, that doesn't kind of step on your toes, so to speak, that doesn't try to make you from a loud person and vivacious and outgoing to a quieter person. You want to make sure that the person accepts you just the way you are, because just like you can't change yourself, you can't change anyone else either. So let's remember that when we're choosing a partner. I do have to say that when we're choosing a partner, oftentimes or quite frequently, I see a loud person kind of get together with a timid person because they do balance each other out, which I think is actually amazing. But we do want to make sure that we don't get irritated along the way, because when you're choosing a lifelong partner, it's always fun at the beginning, but then things kind of get a little bit irritable. So you want to make sure that the personality you have, the essence of who you are, doesn't irritate the other person. The third thing I want to talk about is careers. What purpose does a career serve us? First and foremost, we have to remember the career serves us the purpose of putting a roof over our head, the basic necessities, which is food, shelter, and clothes. So this is really the first thing you got to look at when you're looking for a job. You got to make sure that it pays you what you need to get paid in order to have shelter and food and roof over your head and clothes to wear and family to feed, right? Once kind of that is out of the way, the next thing is going to be family values. The next thing is going to be your personal values, right? So if we're talking about quitting a career, choosing a career, switching a career, always make sure that the basic necessities are taken care of first. When those are taken care of, when the job that you're looking for, the line of work that you're choosing, feeds your basic needs, then we can kind of start becoming choosy and picky with family values. When we talk about family values, we want to make sure that our boss is not expecting us to be there 10 hours a day, 4 days out of the 5. I mean, it's expected that sometimes we have to put in overtime, but it shouldn't be that often. You want to make sure that your job is not stressing you out so much that you come home wiped and you don't have time or energy or the desire to be around those that you love and those that love you, those that are important in your life. So those are kind of like the family values, that you have time to spend with them, that you're not always, even if you do have time, you're not stressed about job, you're not thinking about job. So that's the second thing. The third thing is your personal values, right? So you got to be able to work in a place that serves your personal values. So if, let's say, you are kind of like a kind, soft person who likes to do good, you're probably not going to do very well in a kind of Shark Tank environment. So make sure you don't go there. But again, if that is your basic needs, we meet those first. You want to make sure that the 8 hours a day that you spend, wherever it is that you spend your 8 hours a day, doesn't go against every fiber of your being. So the politics has to be kind that you can handle, right? The internal kind of like relationships with others, how others treat each other, the stress level, the people that they serve, the purpose they serve, the value of the company, the mission of the company has to be in line with yours. There are several things to remember when you're choosing a job. You are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. So remember to ask questions. Remember to ask questions: what kind of supervisor you have, what kind of leadership style the supervisor has, what kind of flexibility the job has. I mean, if you're coming in 10 minutes late, are you expected every day to also make up those 10 minutes at the end of the day, or is there flexibility to make it out throughout the week or throughout the month? So you want to ask all these questions because those things are important when you have family and kids, right? Or even if you don't have family and kids. There are people who have structures. They like to go to the gym every day at 4:30. So again, you got to ask all of these questions. You got to ask about promotions. You got to ask about growth. A lot of times there are companies that I have seen that will hire you through the HR department. You never actually meet your supervisor until you actually start the job. Make sure that doesn't happen, right? I mean, again, we're talking about the basic necessities are met first. This is beyond basic necessities. That is if the job is meeting your basic necessities, you see you have the room to wiggle and ask questions and ask for things. Make sure you ask to meet with your supervisor one-on-one, to spend some time with them, 20-30 minutes, to kind of get to know them, to see what kind of style they have. Ask them about the training period. Ask them about how the training period happens. All of these things are very important. Another thing I usually tell people, ask before you accept the job to kind of go around the office, to kind of feel the atmosphere and the ambience. If there's a lot of tension and a lot of negativity, you will pick up on it on your walk. Trust me, you will. You might want to walk around. You're going to see people. They're going to smile at you. They're going to be tense. They might be smiling, very reserved. So you want to pick up on all of these things. Of course, I mean, granted, you could meet one person who is like having a really bad day and it could be a personal thing. I mean, don't take everything I'm saying literally right now, but I'm just saying pay attention to the overall ambiance, to the overall energy in the place. So before you accept the job, again, make sure it meets your basic needs, so your salary needs are met. Make sure the company values line up with your family values and your personal values. Their mission lines up. Make sure you meet with your supervisor. Make sure you ask the supervisor's leadership style. Make sure you ask about growth opportunities. Make sure you take a kind of walk around the company to kind of pick up on the energy and stuff like that. So those are the things you want to get out of work. Don't forget, just because the work is on the third doesn't mean that it's less important than the personal relationships, intimate relationship, or your personal relationship with yourself. Remember, you are spending 8 hours a day in there. More often than not, we're spending more time at work than we spend with our loved ones. So you really, really want to make sure that that place that you are committing your 8 hours a day to, sometimes 10 to 12 years, sometimes 2 to 3 years, it doesn't matter, even if it's 6 months, it's got to really meet your needs. And remember, always, always remember, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. In fact, I will tell you the various leaderships that I spoke to, and being a supervisor myself, I actually really, really like when potential employees ask me questions. I really, really like it when they ask me my leadership style. I really like it when they ask me about the growth. It means to me that the person is serious about this. It means that the person that I am investing into is equally invested in me. Because if somebody's not asking these questions, I'm thinking, is this a short-term thing with them? Is this kind of a stepping stone for them? Is this worth my time to invest 1 year of training into them? If I know they're not even asking these important questions, they're probably not going to hang in here for long. So those are good things to ask. And the last thing you want to remember at the interview, before you go to any interview, research the company you're interviewing for. Know as much as you can about them. Know their vision, know their mission, know the population they serve. Kind of find out about, who were the founders of it? What was the drive behind the company and stuff like this? Those are always really, really good things and can make really good impressions on the people that you're interviewing with. So whatever choice you make, I hope it's a good choice. Whether you're switching positions, whether you're finding yourself a new position, whether you are changing your career, I hope it really works out well for you. And I see you in my session 4 out of 6. Bye.